Wow, work.
Alright, gang, given that Max Holloway's fighting in a bit, this will be a relatively a quick stream, I have to say, to see if the audio is actually working. But it would be good.
Prime Minister, you want?
Yes, go, audio's working. So it's going to be a lot of topics to discuss, actually. Stuff around the budget looking a bit ropey. What is a working person? And more Israeli attacks on Iran. So, not good news in anywhere, really. It's desperate for some positive news, but unfortunately the world doesn't work that way. So it's pretty bad everywhere. And the UK is no exception to that. If anything, it's probably gotten worse. A working person, a toolmaker, yes, correct. But didn't his father also own the factory, or wasn't he the lead of the factory? So surely he would not have been a working person. I mean, his mum being a nurse, I guess she would be a working person. But I don't think he would be. I don't think his father would be classed as one. Because I mean, if he did run the factory, that would be classed as an asset, no? His national insurance contributions will go up, definitely. So yeah, let's get into topics and then we'll go from there. If we run out of time badly, then I guess I'll just stream tomorrow. It's not a big deal. So let's have a listen to Starmer define working people.
Working person.
Well, I would define a working person as somebody who goes out and earns their living, usually paid in a sort of monthly check. But I think that's obviously very broad. So let me be clear. What I mean, or if you like, who I have in my mind's eye when I make decisions as Prime Minister, are the sorts of working people who go out, work hard, and maybe save a bit of money, but don't have the wherewithal to write a cheque to get out of difficulties if they and their family get into difficulties. Now that's who I have in my mind. People who've got that anxiety, if you like, in the bottom of their stomach, that says we're doing all right, but should something happen to me and my family, I haven't actually got the wherewithal to get out of that problem.
The definition is very broad. Who isn't a working person? Who is a person for whom you think taxes should go up?
Well, it is broad. I accept that. But but when I tell you who's in my mind's eye, which is, and I think everybody watching this will know,
Is he going to mention his dad?
whether they're in this category, because you carry in that situation a sort of knot in the bottom of the stomach, which is, if push comes to shove and something happens to me and my family, I can't just get a checkbook out, even though I've maybe got a bit of saving.
Okay. So for someone who works but gets their income from assets,
It's kind of a bit frustrating. Oh my days, why does this keep happening for? Stream, is it going okay? Because it just keeps saying no data. Not getting anything. God damn, I don't understand what's going on. Seems to be okay now. Is it a me issue or is it a YouTube issue? Because whenever I play like League of Legends and stuff, I don't get this issue. So I don't understand, is it a YouTube issue? Let's see. I don't know if it's, I don't know, because I don't watch live streams. So I don't watch people's live streams. No, it's fine. Seems to be fine. Sorry guys, I don't know what's going on. My speed's normally, yeah, my speed's fine. It's like 70 plus. I've got it down to 144 res and it stopped. I don't know what's going on, guys. Like my speed, like we're talking 80. We're talking like Berta level speed here. We're talking the GNU Force. We're talking like the GNU Force levels of speed here. Look at this. Your internet connection should be able to handle multiple devices streaming. I don't understand what the issue is. So yeah, I don't know, gang. I don't know. Anyways, we'll continue the stream as best we can. Sorry, guys.
No, you're tagging a second question to the first, which is you're asking me for a definition of who's a working person, and then you're making assumptions about what the tax might be in relation to.
But running out of time, but I could go through.
You could, or you could.
You're a working person, and you might put fuel.
You could go through that exercise, or you could, ensure that people hear from me who I have in my mind's eye. People watching this will know. Whether they're in that group or not, those people who work hard, are anxious about whether they can make ends meet, and know that should something happen to them and their family, they can't write a checkbook to get out of the.
So this idea that they can just buy their way out. I mean, I don't know, because I might have to, but people are watching stuff downstairs, so I can't really do that. So yeah. I don't know, man. Might just have to switch to my phone. And just run off it. I'll run off my phone's 5G at this point. Might be better. Yeah, it seems that it just crashed out completely, but I've still got. Oh, I've got less bars on my PC now. Strange. Curious. It's fine normally. Like when I play like online games, it's fine. But yeah, so let's go back over that.
Sure that people hear from me who I have in my mind's eye. People watching this will know, whether they're in that group or not. Those people who work hard, are anxious about whether they can make ends meet, and know that should something happen to them and their family, they can't write a checkbook to get out of the.
That's for even if you're like a middle class person. If you have a major house issue, you can't just get the checkbook out. You probably need like some sort of bank loan or something. This once again, like they've come out with a policy that doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. You're trying to define like working class people as people who go out and earn a living, but then people work from home, so it doesn't really make sense. It's very divisive. I think they could set it as a salary cap. Maybe people earn, I don't know, less than 70k, class as working class, or 60k, class as working class, or have a combined income of, I don't know, less than 60, 70 odd. I don't know. Depending where you live. I'm convinced that Starmer's problem is that when you have no principles, it's impossible to find a policy or message. I mean, that's true. I think they're desperately scrounging, trying to figure out how to raise money in the budget and looking at ways they're not breaking their manifesto. They've boxed themselves in, but I said this at the time, guys. Like, this is not new. This is not new to me. Really, I explained this at the time, and everyone's glazing. People are talking about how good the manifesto is when it really wasn't. to be honest. You know, and this dude here, yeah, like, please stop sending him into interviews. Like, this guy is so bad. Oh, bloody, this website, oh, it does my head in.
You promised not to put taxes up on working people. Who are working people?
So you know this question's going to come up because you, instead of talking about, even if you define working class people, you know the media are going to ask you who is and who isn't working class, or who are and who aren't working people.
Well, as the Chancellor has said, working people are people who go out to work for their income. And
what do you mean by go out to work? Like, again, people work from home. Like, what do you mean? Like, people who... The answer, and I'll give it... You know, there's someone who tweeted about later, is people who have to earn a living versus people whose assets generate their money. That's the difference. If you have assets that generate money, or you just mess around on the stock market to make your money, that's a person who is not a working person. You know, even arguably, if you're going to use the definition of a working person, you'd have to argue someone who makes a tremendous amount of money but actively has to do a job. They would be classed as working people under Labour's definition.
Do landlords work?
No. We were very clear in the election in terms of our manifesto promises that we wanted to...
Instead, you should just get a Labour spokesperson and just read off what they say bar for bar, word for word.
Protect working people. And by
Do
that,
landlords work?
Well, we're talking about where people get their income from, and our priority in the manifesto, and it's a manifesto commitment that we're keeping, is to make sure that we protect working people in terms of not raising any of the rates of income tax, national insurance, VAT, making sure that that promise is kept to protect working people in what is otherwise
going to be,
it's going to be a difficult
Mr. Murray.
budget. We're talking about where people get their income from. And
well,
working people...
I'm talking about a simple question. Do landlords work? I think I've asked you 5 times now. Do they work?
Well, we're talking about...
He just reads... Oh, my God. Stop doing that. He's just reading line for line. You know, like, he's just... There's no real definition here. Like, he's just copying the spokesperson bar for bar, word for word. That's all he's doing. Let me see if I can find the soldier work. I beg I don't get copyrighted for this. Honestly, this is it. Oh no, it's got music on. I can't play this. Oh, this is it. Look, it's just him. You know, copying off the notes here. That's all he's doing. If this video will load.
Kiss me through the phone. He copied
This is it. Look, this is it. He's just he got the Labour spokesperson. This is all he's doing.
my whole fucking flow. Word for word, bar for bar.
That's it. That's all he's done. Like, he's got the notes out, and that's it. He's just copied it. Like, it's embarrassing. Honestly, it's embarrassing. I don't... Like, he's just reading off notes. It's crazy. It's crazy behaviour. How dare you? How dare you diss Max Holloway? Max Holloway is a stand-up guy, as in he will not take down anyone. He's punching at your head. But yeah, anyways, like I'm saying, this guy he's the worst.
Get their income
He's lucky Derbyshire's not interviewing him, to be honest.
from. And people, if they go out to work and they get their income from work, that is where we want to make sure that we protect
So
them.
what you're saying, just to be clear, I'm not trying to score points. I'm just trying to get clarity. You're saying that people who earn their money from owning a house or owning shares or selling a business, by your definition, they are not working people.
Yes, that is correct, 100%.
Well, look, I'm not going to get into too many hypotheticals here.
It's not hypothetical. It really just is a really easy question. The answer is yes, they are not working people by definition.
Nick, but what I'm very clear about is our commitment in the manifesto around working people, and that's why...
But you never define working people. That's why people are drawing so many issues with this. It's crazy behaviour. You know, number 10 rose back on Starmer's comments on owners of shares not being working people. Spokesperson saying the government still considers a person who holds a small amount of savings in stocks and shares a working person, despite the PM's earlier comments in Samoa. Like, this, honestly, guys, this is not difficult. This is not difficult. Yeah, if your main income comes from stocks and shares, and you maybe have a part-time job, whatever, you are not really a working person. If your main income comes from having an active job role, you know, where you generally have to pay things like national insurance, that to me is a working person, even if you do make money from dividends or whatever. And this from Beth Rigby kind of really attacking this point, or really like from the media and attacking their points.
who also make an income from
Jeez, they really did not bring the sound engineers out to Samoa. This is crazy.
property of shares do not fit into your definition of working people, are you, as some of your critics argue, plotting a war against Middle Britain?
This is what these journalists do here. They come up with these weird terms to say, as your critics are saying, or as such and such a person said. Many people have said, like, who was saying this is an attack on Middle Britain? Literally, this is your framing?
Do not fit into your definition of working people, are you, as some of your critics argue, plotting a war against Middle Britain?
No. Let me be clear about that. What we're doing is two things in the budget. The first is fixing the foundations, which is dealing with the inheritance that we've got, including the £22 billion black hole. We have to deal with that. In the past, for the last 14 years, leaders have walked past those problems, created fictions, and I'm not prepared to do that. We're going to fix the foundations, and having fixed the foundations, we're going to rebuild our country, and that is a very clear plan to ensure that people are better off, their living standards go up wherever they live across the United Kingdom, to make sure that our NHS is not...
you're not doing much to improve people's living standards, so... Are we still going on? I haven't even covered this. This video is from today, pal.
Not just back on its feet, but fit for the future, and to ensure that we've got the public services that the public are entitled to and deserve. And that's my focus. That's why I came into politics.
Sabine, that's way too much French for the chat. I'm going to need you to tone that down a bit. We don't do that in Brexit Britain. We only speak one language, and that's Britannia.
And that is the mission of this government. Thank you.
So yeah, I don't know. Like, this framing here is just ugly. It's just absolutely ugly, in my opinion. Like, it's not a comment on. It's just a comment on what she's saying, really. This is the answer here. A working person is someone who relies on their income from working, not through savings and wealth. Why is it so difficult to understand? What am I missing? And then someone's asking here, for the retired pensioners, how did these non-working people get their money to save or buy shares? Like, if I work hard in my life, right, and I buy, I don't know, so say it's 2001, whatever, right, and I buy a load of Apple shares. I'm talking like a ridiculous amount of Apple shares, right? And those Apple shares, I think they got up by like 30, 40 times, right? And I sell off all those Apple shares, or I just live off the dividends of my Apple shares. Am I a working person even though I worked hard to buy all the shares? No, definitely not. No. Okay, so if I can't say hello in French, do I have to leave the live? That's rude. No, I was just messing around. It's just a joke because I don't know many languages. I only know 2, and one of them is non-European. That was a joke. Why don't they ask? Also, I refuse to learn other languages. I should really learn one. I'm trying to pick up 3. I want another one, but I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm trying to figure out what the third one should be, apart from I don't want to learn Japanese because I'd be a weeb. Why don't they ask the PM constructive questions? I mean, mate, have you seen the media class? Like, I'm telling you guys, our media are washed. Honestly, they are. The British media might be the most washed media on the face of the planet. I've seen American journalists, right, do some really good work when they question the president's spokesperson. I'm talking tremendous work, like really, I'm not going to say they're courageous journalists, because the ones that are in war zones are the courageous ones, but genuinely, really good questions, and they really hold that geezer to account, and he looks like an absolute moron every other week. He looks like an idiot, right? When it comes to British journalists, how dare you wage a war on the middle class? Actually, working people can also have shares. What are you doing, guy? What are you doing? That's not, it's ridiculous. Starmer, so you're not working class, Starmer tells landlords and shareholders ahead of a tax grab. But then again, we haven't actually got any confirmation around what tax changes are going to happen. And you got this person here, FBPE, very pro-EU, but that's about as progressive as they are, saying, as a landlord, you say I'm not a working person. To purchase the properties, I work day and night for years in the city to pay for them. Now I work day and night to maintain them. Like, is maintaining a property that hard? Is it that hard? You got to call out a person once in a while to fix something. Is it that hard when you have proper asset management companies that have a few people that manage tens, maybe 100 odd properties. You think you need that many people? No, you just call a dude to fix something. You know, the person gets really emotional saying, I pay tax on my rental income, which I generated myself. How dare you? No, it's your tenants that are generating the income. All you're doing is using their money to pay off your mortgage. That's it. You're not a working person, pal. Working a bit does not equal working class. It's true. You know, yeah, you worked hard in the city, and now your investments are paying off. That's what these people don't get. It's your investments that are doing it. You know, there's a lot more here to talk about.
Why don't you just say the words we all understand? Working class, eh? Why is he so allergic to using the phrase that we would all understand? Or maybe we wouldn't. Trouble began, as it often does for Starmer, with the right-wing press, I guess, frothing at the mouth, desperate for everything he does to...
It's because he's not ready for the framing, that's why. All you have to do is when you come out with your own kind of definition of working people, right, because it's not working class people, or even that definition is skewed tremendously, because the top 5% of earners at the time were like 75k or 85k or something like that, and that's something I didn't even know either. You know, you only have to... If you're on about 100k... you would be in around the top 5% of earners. Is crazy because you think that is a lot of money, but you would think to be in the top 5% in the UK of earners, you'd have to be on 200,000-300,000. Given that we have like a lot of millionaires, but the median or sort of the average income in the UK is so low that you could be up there in terms of top 10, top 5%, and if you don't earn a tremendous amount.
Fail. The Labour manifesto mentions working people no fewer.
A lot of working people are not working class, e.g. barristers, corporate directors, merchant bankers, that is true. That is true. There's a reason why we had the old system of when you talk about people, you had middle class people, upper class people, and you had working class people. There's a reason for that. Like if you live off your shares and they make enough for you to earn a basic income, I don't know, say you make 30 G's off your shares and that's enough for you to live on, would you say that person's a middle class person? I don't know.
Fewer than 21 times. The manifesto, of course, also promised not to raise taxes on working people. So it didn't take long for those, well, particularly those with more than a few quid on notice, to start asking...
Well, how much is a few quid? Because again, like, they're going after people who make money off shares, so... how much is a few quid in this case?
Well, am I a working person? I mean, I work. I worked hard. I didn't inherit all my wealth.
Yeah, but you inherit enough to spawn that into more wealth. That's the problem.
Dare these communists think of putting up my taxes?
What kind of drugs is this brother on?
Certain sections of the media...
This is what I mean. You make up this fictitious argument, right? Say, or you find these like really dumb straw man kind of arguments like, how dare these communists change capital gains tax? Oh, I'm so angry. Me. What? Yeah, it's MMA, guys. It's Max Holloway, the one of my favourite guys.
Rightly, in my opinion, have been pressing the Prime Minister to explain exactly what he means by working people, as Nick was doing months ago. The questioning this week, though, reached Motorhead levels of volume, so much so that Starmer was forced to offer up yet another explanation while at the Commonwealth gathering in Samoa.
This, I mean, just have your definition ready, lad.
Sir Keir said a working person is somebody who goes out and earns their living, usually paid under sort of monthly cheque.
You think he's being ironic? Possibly. Okay, I'll concede that. I'm getting cooked here.
Stings, doesn't it?
But it's fine.
Have the ability to write a cheque to get out of difficulties. Asked if people who drew an income from property or shares were working people, Starmer said they wouldn't fall within his definition. Downing Street immediately issued a clarification of the boss's clarification. The PM didn't mean people who had only a few shares weren't working people. Of course they are. Does that sound right to you?
This is what I mean, guys. Like, if he had a definition ready for this, because it was obvious they were going to go after it. He just never ready for anything. This guy here is talking about Starmer really is the most underrated politician in this country. Even now, sat in number 10, he's not perfect. He's going to change stuff. He's going to do Labour things. Labour things like building a load of social housing. Labour things like mass nationalisation of things. He's going to do those things, or he's going to open more free ports. France middle class is also included in working class nowadays because they suffer from capitalism like other workers if they earn more money. That's quite interesting. I guess you have lower middle class, or as Karl Marx would say, and it's one of my favourite terms, is petit bourgeois. So even I'm speaking some French today. So a very rare thing indeed. But that's something Marx talked about when he talked about petty bourgeois people, people who are like store owners and small business owners. He talked about how they were the ones kind of blocking a workers' revolt or something on those lines. It's been a while since I did those classes. I do miss university a lot at times. But yeah, there you go, Sabine. See, even I'm speaking French a little bit today. Petit bourgeois, a fun phrase. But yeah, this idea is going to do Labour stuff. Again, there's a difference between Clement Attlee and Tony Blair. Big difference between Labour then and Labour now. Quoting a little bit of Drake for you as well. A man of culture, I am. And so, you got a situation where you're talking about billionaires who want to be taxed more. Goddamn, more music. I'm saying, patriotic millionaires UK this week. Commuters in Westminster agreed with our message on the front page of the Metro, saying, "Tax us, the super rich, to fix the foundations of our country. It's time for those who can afford to do more to do so." And I think this is one of the reasons they would want to do this. Is not just the ethics of it, but also I think they know if society collapses, people are coming after them. That kind of stuff. Labour to announce 5 new UK free ports in budget. Oh, I thought, are these the Labour things we were told about? We're opening more free ports. And you got David Henning saying there's no serious evidence that free ports can support UK economic growth. Looks like someone in the Treasury desperate for an announcement, a bad sign in the government. And free ports are a joke. They're so bad, right? Even David Cameron started closing them down. Because that's how bad free ports were. Honestly. Oh, guys. Oh, no. Rob. Damn. But, yeah. No, I commit to this live stream. I'll just commit as best I can. So, don't worry, guys. They're building more free ports. Yay. The 1/3 of Britain living below the poverty line. Real Labour will deal with that first. That's true. That's true. They would deal with things like the NHS. Yes, 100%. And they would deal with, those are the foundational problems. Housing, healthcare, police, things like that. Those are some of the foundational issues in this country. You've got Robert Jenrick here cosplaying as a working class person.
The other day, Michael Gove, remember that guy? He said I was a Tory boy and I shouldn't be leader of the Conservative Party. Some people...
Okay, that's not linked. He's talking about him being called a Tory boy, so something else. Here you got Kelvin Mackenzie, who is the self-righteous, most successful editor of The Sun, saying, so now we have Starmer has made it clear in the media interviews that if you make money from owning shares or as a landlord or from dividends of any kind, you're not a working person and expect to be clobbered in next week's budget. I imagine these demographics, I didn't know those, could you call those demographics? Would have accrued their capital in the first place as working person. It's not really true. They could inherit it through wealth. Can you have growth without addressing those issues? You can. It won't be a lot though. Potentially. Landlords are quite literally the most idle people in Britain, which is true. There's no justice saying that. This person saying I'm an NHS worker working more hours than I'm paid. My rental I purchased in my 20s and sacrificed everything to be on the property market. When I met my partner, I moved out and desperately held on to the rental for my pension. I get fleeced. He goes, if you break even, then someone else is literally paying for your mortgage for you. Imagine complaining about getting someone else to pay for your second home. Landlords just want to be given everything for free. Scroungers. And eventually, that mortgage is going to be paid off. So that's it. Landlords saying we are working people. It's like, you're not though. You cry more about it, but you're not. Are you going to argue the guy, that Labour MP who owns loads of those properties that are like absolutely just awful? Are you going to argue he's a working person? I don't know. Let me just reply to my brother quick. I'm not seeing it. So go on, these people here, the BBC too eager to run with this sob story as a scandal. You gambled your pension. This is it. Like these people, right? They bought a £110,000 caravan as a holiday at a holiday park in Lincolnshire. They hoped they would benefit their whole family. Look at this sob story, right? So a couple from Cleethorpes used money left to Miss Richardson by her parents, who died in 2017-18, to put down a 25k deposit and entered into a finance agreement. So these people you can't even make the argument they've worked hard and saved for this money. They literally just inherited $25 grand. That's a ridiculous amount of money. You could have put down a deposit of an actual house on that. They wanted to let relatives use the caravan for free on holidays. How nice of them! But then rent it out to the public to offset the cost. Oh, isn't that kind? Isn't it? Rent it out to the public and then you can give it to your family for free. It's an investment. It's an investment. They literally bought a holiday house, a holiday caravan. Now, no one would feel sympathy for you, right? If I said, I spent, I bought a holiday house in France, right? A villa, or a villa in Spain, and then I rent it out during certain times of the year, and in other times of the year, what's it called? I live there. You're going to look like an idiot. No one's going to have sympathy for you. Like, the BBC running these stories shows how out of touch the BBC is, and who's the author on this? Chris Baines, mate. Did you go to journalism? Did you become a journalist to cover this? Really? There's growing worry inside the government that Rachel Reeves' budget next week won't include anything to soften the blow for changes to the winter fuel allowance. I mean, it's not. Their argument is that the pension credit is enough, even though we know it's not, and we've covered that. Some Labour people worry that the single defining thing of their time in office so far has been winter fuel, which it has been, and the media has played a large part in that. But it's also true that that is probably the biggest policy that they've done, is go after the pensioners. What made the freebie story politically toxic and what caused the plunge in Labour's poll ratings, I think it's because that, and because a lot of the infighting and stuff hasn't helped. The worry, Gordon Brown's first move as Chancellor was to make the Bank of England independent. For Rachel Reeves was scrapping help with pensioners. You know what, that kind of framing right there, that's incredible. Gordon Brown made the Bank of England independent. What did Rachel Reeves do? Took money from pensioners. Now, that's framing for you. That's phenomenal. I did not know that. Fear in the government is that winter fuel issue will return with a vengeance as it gets colder, and it 100% will. We're lucky we're going through a warmish winter period. But if you guys are wondering what they're talking about in the chat, it's my Discord server, so you can join my Discord server. Expectations are building among MPs. The budget might offer something to soften the blow. They speculated Reeves might increase the threshold to help those on the cliff edge. The thing is, though, even if you increase the threshold, people still need to apply. And the thing with means testing is you still need civil servants and other staff to process the claims. So it's still going to take time. I don't know if anyone. I know there's some oldies in the in the chat. Have any of you applied for pension credit? And how long does the process take? Does anyone know? Because if it's more than a few weeks, it's cooked. I've heard from multiple sources that this isn't the case. There'll be no significant measures to soften the blow to pensioners on winter fuel unless the Treasury is holding its cards very tight to its chest. And again, these are journalists with a lot of connections, and if there was anything, I think, to soften the blow, they would have heard about it by now, because the Labour Party would be running with it. Instead, I'm told there'll likely be longer-term measures around home insulation, which again, home insulation is fine. Tackling poverty is good, but nothing specifically to mitigate the impact of this winter. And again, people will die from this policy because they won't turn the heating on because they fear the bill of it. There are a lot of people in the UK who are in debt to pension companies, not pension companies, into energy companies. Energy debt in this country is crazy. Here we've got James O'Brien.
I'm working and I've let out a property, but on the other hand, the part that I'd also
what's
like
easier?
to say
What's easier, the money that you work for or the money that you get off your tenant?
They're both just as hard.
No, they're not. People are listening.
This is where I think O'Brien does his best work, where he dunks on idiots, because he's a little bit condescending and a little bit funny, and he knows how to needle people quite well.
Right.
Salma, people are listening. I suppose it depends what you do for a living. You might be a radio presenter, in which case it is a piece of cake. But you
could be Nick Ferrari and just let people talk.
No, and I know.
You know where I am at the moment?
The money you get off your tenants is much, much easier than the money you get off your boss.
It isn't, because I am in my rented property right this minute, cleaning up after my tenant. I've literally had problems every single month. Oh, the cooker's gone. Can you buy me a new one? Oh, this is not done.
Oh, that's hard work, isn't it? So what did you do? Hang on. Let me just do this. Hang on. Wait. No.
You literally you order a new one off a website like Curry's or something like that, right? Yeah. You make sure you're there or someone's there to get it, and you call someone to install it. It's not hard. You're barely doing anything. It's like that's about half hour. It costs money, but it's about a half-hour job. That.
My hard-earned cash.
I'm just going on Amazon. I'm just going. Yeah, but they pay for a cooker. That's. I
paid for a cooker.
No, they pay rent in order to be able to live in a place that.
It's the basics of an inhabitable home. You have to have a cooker.
has a cooker in it. No, wait, no, hang on. Sorry, you're distracting me.
You're saying I'm earning
I just bought a cooker. I just bought a cooker on Amazon. It'll be delivered at 1 o'clock today. How much do I invoice you for?
No. See,
that was really easy.
You're classing it as a profit. And
no, I'm not classing it as profit. I'm saying
even if you break even as a landlord, it's a win because of the fact that someone's just paying off your mortgage. You're not putting anything into the property.
Job is to provide, if you are insisting on calling it a job, part of your job is to provide them with a cooker. You can't start complaining about it if they're paying rent.
Look at it also from the other side.
No, because I need you to admit. No, first of all, you have to admit that apart from the 30 seconds it takes you to buy a cooker or the day it takes you, or you could pay someone to clean the flat out of the money that you're making in profit, but you've chosen to do it yourself, so you will keep the money that you would otherwise have made in profit. That's easier money than the money that you actually earn. Well, not my enemy.
It's very hard to put the deposit into the property.
Exactly. Exactly. You work very hard to earn the money to pay the deposit, but you don't work very hard at all to enjoy the benefits of the investment that you made with that.
I think of the landlords, I'd rather not cheat
that money. So you've just told me by accident that you work much harder. You just told me by accident. Hang on, allow me my gotcha moment, Salma, please.
Go for it.
You just admitted accidentally that you worked very hard to earn the money that you now use to...
It's an investment, that's all it is. It's an investment.
Yes and no. Which is why, I think is why perhaps politicians can't answer it. Yes and no. Yes, you are a worker, but no, the landlording bit of your income is not earned income. And the Inland Revenue tells you that. That's why it's taxed differently from the money that you earn in return for your...
That's why you've got capital gains and you've got income tax.
Blood, sweat and tears. The idea, and the more I think about this, the madder it becomes, the idea that you should pay more tax on the money that you get as a reward for already having money, as in for a return on your investment, you should definitely get to keep most of it. But the idea that you should pay more tax on the money that you earn for the fruits of your labour, a higher percentage on the money that you earn by doing work than on the money that you receive as a reward for having made a successful investment is absolutely incredible to me. I mean, this is Victorian.
I mean, yeah, he's going to go on for a while here, but I agree. I agree with it, honestly. And this guy here, he's a joke, and Ali Miraj. I don't want to have to slap down another brother fan, but Jesus Christ, man, what is this? This is the same guy who couldn't define what a woman is. Now he can't define what a working person is like. Like, sure, the working people thing is embarrassing, but the problem is you guys in the media you push transphobia a lot. That's the problem. We're kind of switching gears here. We're going to talk about Lebanon. So the situation in Palestine, the Middle East. You got UN human rights chief Volker Turk says the humanitarian situation in Gaza is at its darkest moment yet and warns of potential crimes against humanity. Unimaginably, the situation is getting worse day by day. The Israeli government policies and practices in northern Gaza risk emptying the area of all Palestinians. We are facing what could amount to atrocity crimes, including potentially extending to crimes against humanity. And really, we've already seen this. And this point of chilling, our statements have been almost entirely normalized. It's because it's been going on for so long now. This war or this kind of genocide, really, it's been going on for a year, but really it's been going on for longer than that. It's been going on since the Nakba, really, and it's been normalized because it's been going on for that long. And I don't think many people in the media class or many other politicians in the UK actually care about this. To be honest with you, I think that's why it's normalised. We're in a situation where even Saudi Arabia has condemned Israel's airstrikes on Iran. That's just wild. Like, you got two regional allies, right? Or two regional rivals in Iran and Saudi Arabia. Two powers that see themselves as big dog, right? One of them saying about the other one, like, I think Israel went too far. It's nuts. This idea that it's going to close the tit for tat between Iran and Israel, I think this is crazy behaviour.
The United States has been pushing out the message.
Yeah, Tommy Robinson isn't Tommy Robinson. That was a banger tweet.
Is that this kind of attack was anticipated and may be part of an end game. Do you think it may be part of an end game?
Well, look, if you listen to what's coming out of Iran, the Iranians are minimizing the damage that the Israelis claim that they did, which is a good thing because it enables them not to retaliate.
The question is, whose stance is this?
Had Israel created a lot of damage and casualties hitting energy,
oil.
So
you've got an Israeli columnist to discuss this. This is not a man who's worth listening to. He's not going to close the tit for tat. The only way this ends is by one side stopping, and you haven't done enough damage to Iran for them to stop. So that's always going to carry on, because both sides don't want to look like they're backing down. But ultimately, I don't think this is a conflict Iran can win. They don't have the resources to do it, and if it gets bad, the Americans will step in. You've got this, Netflix facing backlash over removal of a Palestinian movie collection. The controversial decision by the streaming giant has raised questions about the influence the Israeli lobby has on the streaming giant's platform. It's just, what are Netflix thinking here? Have they been put under pressure by someone? I don't get it. You got Starmer talking about this as well.
I want to address Israel's strikes on military targets in Iran. This is a live situation, and we're obviously monitoring it closely.
I don't think you've monitored that closely, Chief, because you've got this one wrong.
Alongside our partners. I am clear that Israel has the right to defend itself against Iranian aggression. I'm equally clear.
So does Iran have the right to defend itself from Israeli aggression?
That we need to avoid further regional escalation.
This is like someone punching you in the face and then everyone telling you, no, you can't fight back, otherwise you're escalating the situation. That's how stupid this is, because ultimately this started with Israel. Iran accused Israel of killing generals in Syria strike. This from April 1st. So there was a strike in Syria, in Damascus, right, where a senior commander of the elite Quds force and Brigadier General Mohammed Hadi Rahimi, his deputy, were named among the dead. Iran and Syria's governments condemned the attack, which destroyed a building next door to the Iranian embassy. So their embassy in Syria was destroyed as well. So they, this idea that it's Iran that has started this is simply untrue. If you're going to make the argument that these people are targets because they helped they help arm Hamas, then that would be like arguing the UK would be a legitimate target because we help arm Israel. The Americans would be legitimate targets because they help arm Israel. Germany would be a legitimate target because they help arm Israel. This is the line of thinking you would have to go down to justify such an argument, and it gets worse and worse and worse. The scope for retaliation goes much, much further if you carry on this line of thinking. Starmer saying Iran should not respond. But the fact is, it was Israel that started this with Iran. So again, why doesn't Iran have a right to defend itself? I don't get it. You got more war crimes. Israeli forces have bombed the oxygen station at the Kamal Adwan hospital in Beit Lahia, northern Gaza, killing a number of children, according to the report. Were these children Hamas as well? Was it when they kill children on the beach and they call it mowing the grass? Is that Hamas as well, these kids? Honestly, it's just crazy. You got more attacks on UN peacekeepers in Lebanon. On the 22nd of October, an on duty at the permanent observation post near I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Dahaira were observing IDF forces house clearing operations nearby. Upon realizing they were being observed, so as soon as they saw the UNIFIL soldiers looking at them, the IDF soldiers opened fire at the post. The duty guards withdrew to avoid being shot. So these people would have been killed by the IDF had they not backed out. So they were openly fired on despite doing their job, which is observation. The IDF has repeatedly demanded UNIFIL vacate its positions along the blue line and has deliberately damaged camera, lighting and communications equipment at some of these positions. Now, why would you go after cameras and lighting unless it's because you want to avoid being caught with your war crimes in 4K? It's crazy. The UN Security Council is paralyzed because of the Americans, right? And you have a situation where the UN soldiers are being attacked. Oh my God, Whitaker done zero work for that fight. Jesus Christ, chill everyone. Oh guys, we're gonna have to wrap this up soon. You got journalists being attacked, being essentially,
Well, this airstrike took place overnight, hitting a compound where there was
where people are the most vulnerable. Overnight is where people are the most vulnerable.
A rower.
There's less chance of them seeing the planes attacking them.
Chalets, and the first images that we've seen this morning show one of the chalets just reduced to a scorched rubble of its remains. Some of the eyewitness journalists who were in the neighbouring chalets talk about the ceilings falling on them and hearing the sound of fighter jets overhead. Those 3 journalists were from 2 different Lebanese TV stations, and staying in that compound there were around 7 different media organisations.
This is the conflict where we've seen the most journalists be killed. Do you know why they're killing journalists? It's because these are the people who tell us what's going on. And if you don't want people to know what's going on, these are the first people you target.
Who were based there to report on the fighting happening in the south of the country between Israel's ground forces that are pushing into that area and the fighting with Hezbollah. The eyewitness journalist who's spoken about their experience said the journalists there thought they believed this area to be safe because whenever they would make a movement to go out and report or return back to that compound, they would inform the local UN peacekeeping troops there, who they understood would then inform all relevant.
These are the same UN peacekeeping troops that Israel is targeting as well.
Parties. Now, this morning, the Lebanese Minister of Information has called the airstrike a war crime. We haven't heard any comments yet from the Israeli side on what on this airstrike. And we know that the journalists who are in the south of the...
I'll say it now, yeah, that some of those people in that Israeli cabinet and some of these IDF members are very, very similar in their mindset to certain German party that we saw commit absolute atrocities.
Out of the country, there are really one of the sole sources of information coming from that area, as the vast majority of residents in the south of the country on the border have been displaced by the fighting.
So here we have a situation where journalists are informing the UN of their whereabouts in the hopes that they inform the IDF, and the IDF do not target them. Instead, what's happened is the IDF has directly targeted them because foreign journalists are being kept out, and so the only reporting we have is from people on the ground. And Israel do not want that information coming out. Gee, I wonder why.
I'm deeply disturbed by this labelling. Unfortunately, it's a part of a pattern that we've seen from Israel in which they label journalists.
The director of the Committee to Protect Journalists.
As terrorists. We've seen this not just in this current war, but in preceding conflicts in which they've killed journalists and then subsequently alleged those individuals with terrorists, never producing any real credible evidence. And we're concerned...
That's what they do. They'll claim you're a terrorist, they'll claim you're Hamas, you're Hezbollah, and they'll kill you. That's it.
This case, that this is an attempt, if you like, to excuse any potential future attack on these 6 journalists. It makes them extremely vulnerable, and they were already extremely vulnerable. We've looked at the documents. They don't appear to be credible.
This is not the first time. We are not the only one saying that the Israelis are fabricating documents during this war.
Oh, it's Al Jazeera Arabic. You know, Israel who have targeted Al Jazeera relentlessly during this conflict as well, because Al Jazeera they have some of the bravest reporters in around the world, really, and they're trying to document things as best they can, despite the fact that they are being actively targeted by the IDF.
We're witnessing many standpoints from different organizations and from different human organizations. They're accusing Israeli occupation forces of fabricating documents to justify their crimes.
So you just make it up. It's literally this.
Sources that I made it the fuck up.
That's all they're doing. This is their whole
sources
argument.
That I made it the fuck up.
That's crazy. They're just making it up, saying they're terrorists. We can target them with no evidence. And I guarantee the Americans will be like, "Oh, we're waiting for Israel to conduct an investigation into it." Just a joke. Many Labour MPs increasingly grow concerned or frustrated, concerned that pressure is being applied to Israel by the UK government and its Western allies is not having the desired effect. The fact that this is in Politics Home, which I think is a conservative outlet, a conservative paper, is crazy. I don't know why that you got this person who is quite in with Labour has posted this to a conservative website. It's a bit weird, but they're concerned. But are they going to do something? That's the key question. At this point here, so long as the US is arming Israel, this war is not going to come to an end. The former head of Channel 4, because what Israel are waiting for is to see who wins out Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Because if they think if Donald Trump wins, they'll be able to annex way more land and get away with it. I think that's what they're waiting on, because it'll be parts of Lebanon thereafter as well. I think that's it for the stuff in the Middle East. Do want to do some stuff on the budget, but we'll leave this one. Let's discuss this one, the fact that this person here, Margaret Hodge, wants a strong Conservative Party. Like, this is how people like her are determined to draw within the lines, because by having a strong Conservative Party, it means that it keeps Labour kind of in the centre/centre right of politics, rather than if you have a strong Lib Dem party, a strong Green party, it forces Labour to the left.
Let's bring our panel back in, shall we? A sort of coded message to the leadership contenders there from Grant Shapps saying, be careful, warning they need to move to the centre ground.
Well, it was a sort of statement of the bleeding obvious to my ears, as in he was saying, well, at the moment they're trying to appeal to Conservative Party members, but then they'll have to completely change their tune, when they're trying to appeal to the general public. And leaders have always done that. Keir Starmer did it. In his leadership election, you appeal to the constituency you're talking to, and then you change your tune when you're trying to appeal to a bigger constituency. But
well, it's the American strategy. You run to your base during the primaries, and then you run away from them during the election.
I think he admitted to say that reform is the big threat there. And if they tack to the left, that's why they lost the election. They didn't lose the election because the Labour Party was doing brilliantly. They lost the election in a lot of those constituencies because of reform eating them.
What do you think, Margaret?
Well, I thought it was a recipe for dishonesty, actually, listening to them. So you say one thing at one point and then you turn around to another electorate and you completely change your story.
I'll tell you what's depressing. Did, yeah.
I think what is depressing about this is you do win elections from the centre. We all know that. I would say centre-left. Grant Shapps said centre-right.
Margaret Thatcher didn't necessarily win from the centre, though, did she?
I think she did. She cared very much about the issues that are really, about sort of cost of living, all those sort of the economy, work, all those things that matter in the centre. What I find depressing, even as a Labour politician, I think democracy only works well if you've got an effective, strong opposition. If you've got an opposition that's pulling to the right because they're worried about reform, I think it's not serious opposition, and I think that won't be good for British democracy, much as I want Labour to succeed.
What you want, if you want Labour to succeed, is a strong centre, a strong centre-left and left-wing parties. You don't want, fuck the Conservatives, bin them off, in the bin, get rid, yeah? You don't want them. What you want is a strong Labour Party. A strong Green Party, strong Lib Dems. If you want actual change, fundamental change.
I want Labour to be challenged in the actions and the policies that it develops.
Well, let's think about the Conservative Party, right? Even if you got a David Cameron / Theresa May Conservative Party, right? They will always be more to the right than Labour on 90% of issues. So they're always going to try and pull Labour to the right on 90% of issues. That's pretty much it. So I don't get what she's trying to argue here. We're going to have to end the stream here, guys, because my boy's fighting right now and I got to go watch it. So sorry, guys. It's the best is blessed and it's Max Holloway. So we're going to be watching that. Stream's been on for a little bit. Really sorry, guys. I've kind of mistimed the stream today, but the best is blessed and Max Holloway is that guy, so I need to go watch it because it's in good time in the UK and there's no excuse for me to not to watch him. So in the immortal words of Tobey Maguire, I guess I'll...
Stings, doesn't it?
Oh, that's the wrong one. Whoops. There we go.
See you, chump.
Catch you guys next week. Tune in Sunday Roast tomorrow. We're on with a former MEP who's a big dog. And if there's any guests that you guys want on the Sunday Roast, just tweet them to check out the channel. And by the time they see Alex's handsome mug and me and my great takes and my humour, I'm sure they'll want to be a guest on the show. So if there's anyone you want on the Sunday Roast, just tweet at them or wherever, contact them somehow and say if you want to be on the best show, you know where to find us. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow on the Sunday Roast. Be there. Or just be there. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.